'Tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back. Glad to see you looking fresh. And today, we're taking another stop on our humongous journey here on our channel. This is the third time we're hanging out with our old pal Pajama Sam. And this time, we're going straight to you are what you eat from your head to your feet. Roll the intro.
Not so fast, evildoer. It's jail for you, you tasty villain. You and your chocolate chip gang are through. Boy, eating cookies is hard work. But there's only one more box to go, and I'll have 20 box tops. And that means I can get the Pajama Man action figure with Titanic elbow thrust. I can hardly wait.
Sam! It's almost time for dinner.
Dinner? Oh boy, I don't feel so good. Uh-oh, I don't think that was me. Boy, first they spoil my dinner and now they've gone to cause trouble somewhere else. Somebody's gotta stop them. Somebody like Pajama Sam! Of course, I'll need my cape.
So the third entry in the Pajama Sam franchise takes us to a world inhabited by food and a land that looks oddly like our main character. It's quite an interesting setting, and honestly, I quite love the world that they've crafted for the third Pajama Sam game. There are multiple spots in this world that kind of live rent-free in my head where I just picture them in my own time. Like, wow, that is beautiful. That screen that they have is beautiful. There's just little pockets of this world that I just fell in love with ever since I played this game as a kid. This story is what the title is, right? It's about how you should mix and match different foods. The food pyramid is a physical location in this world. Food that inhabit this world work as different individuals, and the whole point of the story is to get them together to work together. And it's a story about politics, which is kind of crazy for a kid's game to delve into stuff like strikes, worker strikes, unions are brought up, like I said, political intrigue, candidates, war and peace, and all this other stuff are fundamental pieces of the world that they've crafted here. It's kind of complex, and a lot of stuff that just flew over my head as a kid, I really appreciate now for how much attention to detail is brought to it. So this world, like I said, is split apart. The SAM organization, SSAM, has kind of taken over different spots and is putting up a blockade into the other food groups being able to show up to the peace conference. And all that's there is a lollipop representing the sweets group. You find a political prisoner who's a broccoli who was taken, much like you, by the sweets and put into jail. This is candy cane bars, and there's bonbons on the ground and food everywhere, right? This screen was part of the demo I played as a lot as a kid too, so I remember this screen very fondly. I remember this broccoli very fondly, and Sam also kind of is quite fond of this broccoli as well. But you bring her to the peace conference. You meet her old pal Carrot, and he's a peacekeeper. We've always known that. And he's trying to keep peace between the nations of food here, because Rutabaga is ready for war, and he's ready to declare war. I don't even know what war entails in this world, but I mean, he's ready for it. He's ready to throw down against these sweets. But, we got to get all the food groups together to talk peace out. So who we're missing are Granny Smythe, who of course is Granny Smith Apple, Chuck Cheddar, Cheese, Pierre, who is a baguette, and Bean 47, who represents the meat and beans group. I assume they didn't want to have like a hot dog or something like that, because I don't know. Get into the weeds of. I mean, there's a hot dog in this. For some reason he's with the sweets, but I mean whatever. That's beside the point. So the Bean 47 is a funny little dude. That's where you learn about worker strikes and the bean factory, because there's jelly beans and the kidney beans can't figure out how to work together. Basically, you have to just trick them in swapping their signs, and then they're like, oh, you like me and we like you. All right, let's get back to work. I wish strikes were that easy in real life, and I wish that we all could come to a realization. Obviously, strikes in real life are a lot more complicated and deal with much more complex issues than we don't like you and you don't like us. But, you know, the fact that this game is dealing with strikes at all is crazy. Granny Smythe is a weird character. She finds herself in a hot mess, regardless of your playthrough. And I will mention, like I do in most of these, that there are multiple playthroughs. Each character, I believe, can be in 2 different locales, and it completely splits up, like, what you do. They're all individual, though. Each character's path don't really intersect with any of the other ones. So, like, even though, like, Bean 47, on this one there was a strike, and another one you have to sort the beans out, that won't affect where, like, Chuck Cheddar is, where Pierre is, anything like that. But Granny Smythe always finds herself in a hot mess. And this time, she's in the middle of this, what I always picture as caramel. I don't know if it's ever explicitly said as caramel. And there are these, what look like walnuts, just sharking around her. To get her out, you need a plunger. So you have to go see the plumbers. And the plumbers, I don't know what food they are. I don't know what they're supposed to... Are they plums? I guess that would make sense if they're plumbers. But they also have, like, a plumber crack. So, I don't know. I don't think they ever say what they are. It would make sense if they were plums, though. And these guys are a weird bunch because they're very important for some reason, right? You have to deal with them to get their plunger, their extendo plunger, to get Granny Smythe out. You also have to talk to them because one of them went skiing, so you have to go get his plunger off of the ski slope, which is a whole different minigame. That you get to go you get to go skiing down a hill, which is mildly fun. It was a lot more fun as a kid, but it's okay now. And there's also the third one, which will tell you what the best cheese is in a cheese sandwich. Which he said feta. That's a lie. I don't know feta is not bad in like some circumstances, but the best cheese for a cheese sandwich is definitely not feta. I don't know what he's talking about. But that's an important piece of the whole thing. Because there's a fortune cookie on top of a mountain that'll ask you the 3 questions, the 3 cheese questions, and if you answer them, you get to blow the horn. Why does he want to know about cheese so bad? I don't know. Also, I thought that the sweets were an evil group, but the fortune cookie seems like a chill dude. So we're down with him. Another thing, down with Chuck Cheddar, who, I mean, kind of lines up. Chuck Cheddar is the cheese, and you use the cheese questions. Well, I don't want to spoil the other ones, but you get to the cheese questions, and then you rescue Chuck Cheddar that way. It's kind of a fun, like, okay, so that's all connected like that, right? This game is very clever. I think this might be the most clever of the... Pajama Sam's always clever, but this one might be the most. Because one thing I never figured out until this playthrough, Chuck Cheddar's up on, like, this ledge. And the area you're in is, like, looks like teeth. Because, like I said, the whole land is Pajama Sam. Like, there's a heart that, I mean, you see the map. There's, like, his whole head. The island of Mop Top, as what they're calling it. There are the eyes. They're, like, anything. Muscle Beach. And there's toe hills. A lot of clever stuff. So, the teeth are, like, these mountains. And there's gumdrops. And they're mining out. And I was like, I never understood why are they little... It's because they're digging cavities in the teeth. That's what these gumdrops are doing. And then you drop the avalanche on them and it clears them out, right? I never ever put together that that's what they were up to. Granny Smythe, the reason I brought her up with the whole thing with the plunder is that once you rescue her and you get back to the peace conference, she has the plunder still stuck to her head, which is great. She just didn't take that off. Pierre is the only other one who I haven't really mentioned on. He's a bit weird. He's stuck on a Ferris wheel, and this area is very cool. It changes quite a bit depending on what story you get to play through. Like, there's a stand-up comedian thing. There's it's at a Muscle Beach, which has these muffins, which are the lady muffins are sunbathing, and the manly muffins are drawing them, or they want to be working out. And then there's this green bean that's selling balloons who hates his life and what it's come to. There's a lot of weird stuff. This area is very strange, but you get Pierre off the Ferris wheel, and that's all of them, right? There's only 4 things to collect in this game, which are the 4 characters to get them back to the peace conference. That being said, there are some puzzles that are kind of hard. Like, the cheese puzzle can be tough. Like, there's 3 parts you have to answer. The cheese sandwich one I took forever as a kid to figure out. Because it took so long, I have it memorized to this day. Not necessarily what the answer is, because it changes every time. I'm sure there's a finite amount of one answers it could be, but the answer you get is randomized. And it took forever to figure out who answered the cheese sandwich question. I remember asking my parents, what's the best cheese for a cheese sandwich? And they're like, I don't know. I think one of them said provolone, one of them said American. There was no right answer. I mean, to me, I couldn't tell the game that. But he said one guy will tell you. The Granny Smythe part is hard in an actual gaming sense, because you have to hop across these walnuts, and let me tell you what, the timing on those walnuts is not easy. I'll show you the gameplay here. I do a thing where you can skip cutscenes, and it's very important when doing the walnut thing, because you can kind of skip across a little bit easier, and even still, you can see that I fell in that goop quite a bit. It is hard to get across there. Obviously, it's not impossible, but I remember the kid having a tough time, and even now it's a little annoying to get across them. But I mean, once you get to the center once, you're good. But the world is wonderful. There are, like I said, there's many places that I remember fondly, such as this one part where you get an etiquette lesson. There's a librarian, which I've always found hilarious. I didn't get it in this playthrough. But much like in the last Pajama Sam, you can just swap whatever ones you want around. I wish more Humongous games did that. Pajama Sam to be the only one that lets you do that. But you can choose the path you want to take, which is cool. The librarian asks this question, do you have a library card? And just the way she says it is etched into my brain. That happened with a lot of characters. There's this freak of an egg that loves French fries. And most of the time, he's especially with ketchup on it. And this is the way he says ketchup is I don't know, stuck with me. I love French fries, especially with ketchup on it. This time he wanted relish.
Hello? Hello, French fry. I'm not a French fry. I'm Pajama Sam.
Oh, so you are.
Pity. Do you like French fries?
I love French fries, especially with relish. Relish. That's the only way I'll eat them, actually, is with relish on them. Then there's no stopping me.
I like mine with ketchup.
Well, different strokes for different folks.
With seeing Sam dump that relish onto the French fries, boy. Plus, there's a condiment tree, which is very cool. That there's just a tree of condiments. And as a kid, I always liked to just guess whatever flavor he wanted, because you can just grab them and go. I always picked teriyaki sauce. And one time, I remember it dumped them on the French fries, and the egg got all excited, as he does when you put the right sauce on. But without me even talking to him. So that was a fun little bump. But, I mean, that's about it for Pajama Sam. You are what you eat from head to your feet. It's, like I said, the world is wonderful. The story is very interesting. Why is it so complex? One thing I didn't really mention is that, in the first Pajama Sam, there are things to collect. They're not socks this time, they're box tops. so that he can send him off to get a Pajama Man action figure with Titanic elbow thrust. I think I remembered that right. Another thing that confused me up until this time, because I didn't really remember it, is I was like, why does this box have a 2.5 on it? That's because that's a shoebox, and that's Pajama Sam's shoe size, apparently, is 2.5. So it's pretty small foot. I mean, he is a kid, so I guess that makes sense. But, I mean, that's pretty much it.
All the best things to eat are made by different kinds of food working together. And that's what you should all be doing. Instead of fighting, you can work together to create new and better things.
New? Better?
Sure, like maybe an apple, broccoli, bean, cheese, and lollipop sandwich.
The kid's got a point.
We have been most foolish.
Put her there, partner.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
Cooperation? Why, this means
Peace, General. Peace.
Exactly. In that case, I hereby officially and irrevocably declare peace. Hooray!
Great speech, Sam. You really saved the day with that one.
I'm glad I could help.
Can you stick around to help us make plans for the future? Or have you got to get home for dinner?
Dinner? Oh my gosh, I forgot.
So, have you played Pajama Sam? You are trees from head to your feet. This may be controversial. This may be my favorite of the three thus far. I know the first one has a lot of fans. It's most people's favorite humongous game, period. This one is so nostalgic to me. I adore the world they created. I love the art style. I mean, I get all of them, but I just love the first game is dark. The second game is bright in the day, and this one's like a nice moody in between. Very wonderful, very lovely, absolutely incredible. If you have not played it, I recommend you go play it. I try not to spoil as many of the answers because this one is a little bit more challenging than some of the ones we've talked about previously. Plus, I mean, there's a whole another half of this game that I didn't touch on. So, by all means, go give it a try. Let me know down below if you do. Thank you so very much for watching, and as always, like this if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.